webinar. Today we are presenting webinar on Fear to Fearlessness, which has been organized by Applied Science and Humanities Department of Parul Polytechnic Institute, Parul University. The main agenda of this webinar is to accomplish the fears as different things produce different feelings and we are scared of doing things because of fear. I, Vaishali Nathwani, would like to introduce today's guest speaker and communication development coach, soft skill trainer, business and professional branding consultant, international speaker, Himanshi Awal from New Delhi. She has a variety of 15 years work experience across different countries. She trains participants from freshers to senior in management, industry. Clients are also from consulting, luxury goods, educational institutions, and many more. She is from New Delhi and has completed her higher studies from UK on a scholarship. She has worked in London, Oxford, and Melbourne, managing brands, client relations, consumer promotions, and events. Training assignments and people management was a large part of her work profile abroad. She has successfully pursued various opportunities to train and manage teams. She has also undertaken other programs like investor awareness programs across industry, women empowerment program, English as a communication tool, presentation and public speaking skills, etc. She has overall undergone 5-day technical sales and training specialization for automobile industry, masters in strategic marketing communications, London. It's a privilege to welcome you, ma'am, here.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the introduction. All right.
Yes.
Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am. You
Okay,
can
great.
start with the
So
session.
I welcome all of you, all the students who are joined here with us through Facebook Live, and all the faculty members. Thank you for having me here. And it's my privilege to be talking about the topic that we are going to be discussing today, especially on a day and date like this, as we are towards the end of 1 year and preparing ourselves to enter another year. So, let me quickly share with you why I chose this topic, fear to fearlessness. As we all must be aware, fear is a type of emotion. It's a very natural, very powerful, and a very primitive human emotion. If any of you has ever studied about the evolution of humankind and how humans have evolved over the years and centuries, fear has always been one of the emotions that has been part of our journey. And depending on the kind of person we are, fear can either be our friend or our enemy. Now, as I said, emotion in human emotions, fear is always a primitive human emotion. What that means is, if you think about the times when we humans used to live in caves, and we used to hunt animals, fear used to fuel us so that we could protect ourselves, right? Those days are long over. We now live in a concrete jungle, but fear has still been with us and it is still evolving. Okay. Now, in the chat, if you just I'll keep asking different questions. Just keep putting your answers, everybody, in the chat, and we can look at it towards the end of the session. How many of you have ever, in the last, say, 1 week, felt fear? I will not say that have you ever felt fear, because that's a very weird question, because we all have felt fear of one type or the other. So if you can just put in chat, in the last 1 week, if you have felt any type of fear, and if you are comfortable sharing what type of fear, as in what was the situation that made you feel that emotion called fear. Okay. Remember that fear is a human emotion, therefore it is a biochemical response, and also it's a highly individual emotional response. So one person can feel fear for something, somebody else does not feel fear at all for it, right? But they feel fear for something else, and the first person might not even be aware of it, right? Now, if we look at a very basic definition of fear, Fear is an emotion. Fear is a response from our body which alerts us to the presence of some type of danger or some type of threat which can cause us any type of harm. It can be a physical harm or a psychological harm. Now, it is a threat of harm, which means it might be a real one or it could be a perceived one where the psychological aspect comes in, right? Sometimes fear can come from a real threat, something that might never happen, but we have just got into that thought pattern where we feel that something wrong will happen and therefore we start feeling fear. Anybody has ever felt that there is no real danger coming up? That's when you realize, when the situation is over, that there was no real danger, but we are in the process of feeling fear because we have a perceived threat, right? Tell me in the chat, does that affect your mental working? So, say for example, if you are feeling fear for an upcoming exam, right? And you feel that you have not studied enough. You have been studying, you have been attending your classes, you have been making your notes throughout the year, right? But like some of us study our notes throughout the year, and some of us study more or less, once in a week or once in a month, and then some of us study closer to the exams. But all three of these type of people will feel fear for their exams in some form or the other. Okay, the person who studies a lot still might feel more fear than the person who studies towards the last days before the exam, right? The type of fear might be different, but there will be fear. Whereas the person, for example, who is studying towards the end of the exam, if I take my example, I was the kind of person, the kind of student in school, in college, who would always study for my exams towards the last few days right before the exam, because I knew I was comfortable with my notes throughout the year and I was aware. But I felt a different level of fear because I knew in my mind that I had procrastinated and kept my revisions and my learning towards the end. So a different type of fear, right? But when you have studied for the exam and you get your results, you realize, oh, I was just feeling fear for no reason. I've actually done well in my exams, and it was nothing to fear about, right? So there is one which is a real fear for somebody who might not even have notes and therefore does not know what to study and is struggling with other people, towards the last days. So their fear is a little more heightened because they feel that they have nothing to study on and therefore they don't know what to prepare for the exam. So this is one level of fear. The other is somebody who has maybe done revision once, twice, even three times. They still feel fear that what if something comes out of syllabus. And then there's another person who has been procrastinating studying, therefore they have this anxiety, and if the anxiety continues for a very long time, it can convert into a disorder, or like they can feel like a traumatic stress, right? Where they feel that, oh my god, I have studied but I have not studied enough, or what if the parts that I have not studied because now I don't have time, what if those questions that sub parts come in the exam? But in all of these situations, what if all these people who are involved, at the end of the exams, when the results come in, all of you get good enough marks that make you happy, right? So in one situation, fear could actually be stemming from a real threat, right, where you had not studied at all because you didn't have anything to fall back on. Whereas the other person uh, is fearing that they have not studied enough, or they have not revised enough, or they have prepared late enough. Now if you look at it, in all of these situations, it is still a biochemical reaction, because at the back of our mind, all of these people who are involved in this situation, they know that they have not done something that they should have done, and if they had done, they would not be in a perceived situation that they are in right now. And that is if they had maybe started preparation a little earlier, if they had not procrastinated making their notes, or if they had made their notes, they had not procrastinated just going through them, right? So, as I said, fear is a natural emotion and a survival mechanism. Now, some people live their entire lives fearing fear. They have all types of fear. If they care for somebody, they'll say, oh, if you reach that location, so and so, give me a call because I'll be worried. Or if they'll be like, oh, I cannot express my thoughts in front of the seniors because I don't know if they will appreciate it. Or I cannot speak up in a meeting because I don't know if others will like my idea. All of these are different forms of fear. One person might hesitate speaking up in front of, say, people of authority, whereas another person does not feel any of that fear because they're like, I'm also a human being, I have an idea, I would like to speak, right? Same situation, different people are dealing with it in different ways. Therefore, if we look at the threat factor that is connected with fear, it could be a real threat or it could be a perceived threat, right? Sometimes our body reacts in a physical manner to fear, and sometimes our body reacts in a more psychological manner for fear. Any of you who feel fear, can you just put in chat that when you feel fear of any type, a small situation, maybe a particular person, maybe of your age group that you have been avoiding, or somebody senior, maybe your parents or your elders or your teachers, or say, for example, if you had to prepare for something or anything. The last time when you have felt fear, how did your body react? Was it more of a physical reaction or was it more of a psychological reaction? First, put that in the chat. And once you have put that, then give an example of, so say, for example, you say that it was more of a physical reaction. So, how do you know it was a physical reaction? Were you sweating? Were you stammering? Were your hands shaking, right? Or anything like that? Or did you feel a psychological fear? Maybe you had some kind of pain in your stomach, or you had this anxiety where you could not concentrate on what somebody was saying because your mind was somewhere else. So just put in chat whatever type of fear you felt, physical or emotional, and then the type of fear you felt. If it was physical, what did you feel? And if it was emotional, what was it? And also, if you can share, why did you feel that? If you can just share that. I'm just want to understand by the end of this session that what are the different ways different people experience fear. Remember, fear is actually not here to make our life miserable. Fear is actually a survival mechanism. If you understand the reason you feel fear, if you understand what is fear, why do you feel fear, why are we afraid of fear? If you understand these basic questions for yourself, not the regular definition that you can find online, but for yourself, why do you feel fear? In what type of situations do you feel fear, right? Why do you fear in those particular situations? If you can get down into it and write down for yourself, feel those feelings when you actually felt that fear. What were those situations? What was going to happen? Did it actually happen? Or if it actually happened, then what happened? How did you deal with it? Were you able to deal with it or were you not able to deal with it, right? And if you were able to deal with it, what did you do right? If you were not able to deal with it, what could you have done better, right? So if you can write down what is fear for you, one, why do you feel that fear in those particular situations, right? Where does that fear come from in those particular situations? Last time when you felt it, how did you deal with it? And have you created a mechanism, a system for yourself so far how to deal with it? Is that system working for you? If it is not working for you, have you looked at an alternative solution? Note these down in your own time, these questions, and look at it fear. Because see, the thing is, irrespective of what age we are in, what career we are in, where we live, what do we want to do further in our life. Fear is something which is very, very real. Some people fear the, say, for example, some people fear public speaking, right? Which means they are able to be a funny person with their friends, right? But you put them in front of a few new people and they will not be the ones who will speak up. This is a situation with most people. We say, oh, I'm an introvert and therefore I don't speak. But more than the introversion, it's actually your fear of being judged, or it is your fear of why should I speak up first. You usually wait for the other person to speak up first, whereas the other person is also waiting for you to speak up first. The point is, both these people are operating out of fear, right? There's nothing wrong in being an introvert, there's nothing great in being an extrovert. But an extrovert also feels fear of different styles, of different types in different situations. An introvert also feels fear of different types, different situations. And there might be a lot of situations where they feel the same level of fear, right? Does not make any of them great, does not make them any of them weak. It is just two different people. But the moment you understand what your fears are, what all types of fears you feel, in what situations you feel fear, why do you feel them, right? Also, you understand, do you have the same type of fears as the people in your closest circle? So what is your closest circle? Can be your friends, your peers, your family members, your cousins, your relatives. Then you can also look at maybe your elders, your teachers, your parents, the elder, other people in maybe where you live. If you start observing people, you will realize that a lot of people, a majority of people, operate their day to day life out of fear. Shouting at somebody unnecessarily is a type of fear. Okay, increased heart rate or your hands trembling, and therefore you are also getting angry and you're shouting louder, is also a type of fear. Not being able to express your ideas is a type of fear. Procrastinating what you want to do, but you keep putting it off. I'll do it tomorrow, okay, I'll do it day after, or let me watch some social media, let me watch some Instagram, then I will get to it, or let me watch another video, then I will get an idea and then I will get to it. That is procrastination. It is also a type of fear. We will get into that a little later. But what I'm saying is, if you start observing other people, irrespective of their age or whatever they are doing, if you just start observing other people, you will notice that majority of the people around you are operating out of fear. There's very few people, but there are there. You might be one of them, where you are not operating out of fear. What does that mean? That means that when you start to do something, right? If it is a new situation, if it is a new person, if it is something that you have never done, or it is something that you did last time and you did not get the results that you were hoping to get, somewhere from the previous experience or the lack of experience, we all feel a little level of fear of, what if I'm not able to do it right? What if it does not go the way I am planning it to go? What if I am made fun of? What if I do something wrong? What if this? What if that? All those what ifs. Till the time we don't do it, we will not know if that what if situation will even come up. If it will come up, in what form will it come up? And in whatever form it comes up, how will other people react or respond? So that other people's reaction is where we have jumped in our mind to, and therefore we just don't do it. Okay, so you need to make an analysis, especially those of you who feel that you feel fear a lot. You should definitely do this small exercise. I'm not saying that you do it because we are sitting on 29 December and the year is ending and you get all philosophical and all of that. But yes, if you are attending this session, right, that means this topic does interest you at some level, or fear is something which is very close to you, you feel it, and therefore you are looking at this session to understand, is there something I can take away from here, and is there something I can do about it, right? These are the very basic questions that you should handle at first your personal level, then start observing other people of whatever ages to understand, do they also feel the same fears or similar fears as you? Do they deal with them in the same way or similar ways as you? Are they doing something different? Can you learn something from them? Can you talk to them about these? There's something called trauma bonding. It's not something that we are going to be discussing here, but what trauma bonding basically means is that if you have gone through a certain situation which was not nice for you, and say for example, if I have also gone through that situation and it was not nice for me, right? And you share that experience with me, and I'm like, oh my god, I have also gone through that, right? So there is something common between us. It was not a pleasant situation, but we have gone through it in our own ways, and we share, okay, this happened with me, this is what happened, this is what I did, this is what the other people did, and this is how I felt, and this was the result. And then I share the same thing, right? Now, this is a level of bonding only. Now, what happens usually is when people share their good experiences or their bad experiences, we usually discuss what happened, what should not have happened, and what we did. We forget the missing part of the way I handled it or the way the other people handled it. Was it the right way? Did I learn something out of it? And am I going to repeat that process or am I going to do it different? That is something, if we start discussing, which means we have discussed the problem, the situation, but now we also discuss a possible solution, right? The moment we start looking at that, our mind, when that situation happens again with us, because we have already discussed a type of solution to that situation, try, test it. The next time that situation happens, the level of fear that you will feel, anybody will be a little less, at least a little less than the last time you felt that same fear in that same situation or a similar situation. Why? Because our mind works very smartly. It knows that so far we were discussing only that problem in our mind or with other people. But in this situation, we had also discussed a solution. That solution gives a level of rest to our mind. That fear factor goes a little low because our mind it telling us that don't worry, there is a possible solution that we might be able to work on, right? So when we confront a perceived thought, right, our bodies will respond in certain ways, which means if I have a possible solution, psychologically or physically, our body will respond in a different way. But if there is no solution, so we our mind does not know which way it will go to get out of this situation, and therefore our mind or our body will respond in a different way, right? So a fight, a flight, a fear, or a solution response is how our mind, our body always works. So we either solve it or we try to run away from it. You need to figure out what mechanism have you been following first. Second, look at the environment in which you are mostly in when a situation like that happens. The people around you. If they have a format, they have a process of, they always fear their fears so much that the fear actually becomes bigger, right? In that situation, psychologically you have absorbed that same response from them, right? Therefore your survival is now not just depending on how you personally have developed your response to that situation, you have also absorbed your survival mechanism and your emotional responses from the environment, which is the other people around you. Think about it. Do you get so fearful of any situation that you freeze in your mind, or your body does not respond, or if people are speaking around you are just not able to concentrate, right? And then you just burst out shouting all of a sudden? Look at the way you have been dealing so far and see if your current mechanism works in your favor, then it's fine, you continue, right? But in some situations it might not be working for you. So you need to first figure out what is my mechanism, what is my process when I first feel fear, in what type of situations I feel fear. Why do I feel fear? Am I carrying some kind of past experiences into my current situation? A lot of us, irrespective of our age, right? But if our age, which means, say, for example, somebody is 20, somebody is 30, somebody is 40, right? And all three of these people have been living their life out of fear, right? Somebody who is 40, who has been living their life out of fear, right? Their years of feeling fear are more, right, than somebody who is 20, which means the baggage, the heavy weight that you are carrying, not physically, but in your mind, therefore, which gives you stress, right? Somebody who's been carrying the fear of what has happened in the past, or fear of letting go. I am not able to let go. This person hurt me, this person said something behind my back, or this person said something on my face, but when the actual situation came, they never helped me. Or this person is very difficult to deal with, I can't deal with them, and therefore I always avoid them. Or for example, I can't speak publicly. Or okay, I will do this task, but later, right now I'm on a break. But in our mind we are thinking, oh, I don't want to do this task, but I don't know how to say no to you. Or maybe we don't know how to do it, and we also don't want to learn because right now I am just not feeling it. All of these things add to the fear. Why? Because we are procrastinating them. The more I keep pushing it away from doing it right now, therefore I'm not handling the situation, the more the fear increases. Because psychologically my mind says that because physically I'm not handling the situation, I'm not doing something about it, that means psychologically that the message that can go is that this is something I am not comfortable with, this is something I don't like, this is something I am not going to feel happy doing, and therefore I am pushing it away. And the more we keep pushing it away, the more the fear starts to develop and gain more ground in our mind. So say for example, if I go back to the exam scenario, say for example you attended a class, say in the month of July. You attended a class in the month of July, you made your notes, but then after July you never opened that part of your notebook. Okay, now we are sitting in December, and you were told just a week ago that in the first week of January you will have an exam of everything that you had studied in those months, in June, July, August, right? Now, in your mind, you know, oh yeah, I have the notes ready. They are there. So you have that comfort in the knowledge that those notes are there. But you don't remember where you kept that notebook, but you know it is somewhere lying at home, right? And you are the type of person who usually procrastinates. What is procrastination? I will do it later. I will do it tomorrow. Let me do this right now. This other task, I'll do it later. And then when you have done this task A, you then go to something else, task B. But you don't pick up that task that you are supposed to do. So you keep putting it off. An hour later, 10 minutes later, tomorrow, next week. But in your mind, you know that you need to do it. But the more you keep putting it off and off and off, the feeling of fear increases in your mind, because your mind in your heart knows that you need to do it, but you keep putting it off. Therefore, the pressure keeps increasing. The pressure can be of guilt, The pressure can be of reducing time. The pressure can be of the deliverables that you were supposed to give, or it can be any other pressure. It could be that there are other people waiting on you to do your part of the job, any of that. But all of this is procrastination. So if I go back to the exam example, say you know that the notes are there, but you don't know where the notebook is, but you are too busy having fun with your friends right now, or you are too busy attending other classes right now, so you're not getting the time to go look for that notebook, right? What happens is a week passes or a few days pass, and now it's only 3 days before that exam. Now will your fear level will be really high because you still don't know where that notebook is. Forget studying for it, you still don't know where the notebook is. So your first fear could be, I have to go home, do everything that I am already doing, and then I have to make time to look for that notebook. Okay. So if you are in the habit of, say, making a planner, like a timetable or like a to-do list, you first write down, okay, look for that notebook. Okay. Second, once I find the notebook, look if my notes are up to date. Then start studying. If you have any doubts, for example, where will you look? Books, friends, maybe other notes. So your to do list has now increased and your time has now reduced. Do you think your fear factor, your anxiety is high or is it low? Say you have only 3 days left and you are the type of person who procrastinates. What happens is when our fear levels go up in this situation because anxiety level is high, some people, their mechanism of dealing with it is they will now look at things they will do which brings them instant comfort, right? And therefore they will procrastinate more. What happens is this will add fuel to their fear more. And then in the end, finally, when they will sit down to study and say by some miracle they are really smart at studying, they get great marks. What is that conversation that we usually have with our friends? Oh, I was, regular. I was just fearing it unnecessarily. I had the notes. I knew I will study. And see, I studied in the last minute. I always perform my best under pressure. And see, I still got good marks. This is a type of adrenaline seeking mechanism, right? Do you know what adrenaline seeking mechanism is? People who go for, say, extreme sports, right, which gives rise to some type of fear, some type of thrill, right? And at the end of it you have so much fun. It's called adrenaline seeking mechanism, right? In this situation you're not doing extreme sports, but you are playing at an extreme level with the time, and therefore you are increasing, you're heightening your anxiety level. And then at the end of it, when you have limited time available, you put in your best, whatever you can do in that situation. You study you with full concentration and then you get the results, right? But you got the results and you say that you perform best under pressure. But if you keep performing like this over a period of years in your life, the level of stress you feel, the level, and then the variety of stress that you will feel, and from different levels of and different situations that you will feel stress from, it is going to increase. Why? Because as you progress through life, your level through life is changing. Today you are a student, tomorrow you will be a job seeker, then you will be somebody who is in a job, somebody who is in a career, right? So this is the way you are dealing with stress, because this is the way you have trained yourself consistently, consciously, subconsciously. And this is how you will continue to perform till you try to break this chain. But as you grow through your roles, say now you become like a 30-year-old, you have 10 years of working experience or some years of working experience, you will realize that the symptoms that you feel for your stress or for your fears, there might be a little more now. There might be more physical symptoms, more emotional symptoms, because the level of your fear or the breadth of your fear has increased. So, again, at that stage, whenever you feel fear, you need to go back and understand Why are you dealing with that situation the way you are dealing with it? That's the first thing. Why am I doing what I am doing? Okay, it's a very basic concept that we need to understand with fear. A lot of times we are so used to living in fear that we don't even realize that we are operating out of fear, because that has become our basic mechanism, right? So you need to understand, why do I keep procrastinating? Or if you are the type of person who feels too shy of speaking to new people, you and that does not work in your favor, you feel that you have missed a lot of opportunities, then in that situation you need to understand, why do I keep not talking to these people? Or whatever your situation is, bring a notepad or your laptop or whatever works for you, and note down why you are dealing with situations the way you are dealing with them first. Very simple. I can, in the next half an hour, I can tell you a lot of scientific information, a lot of scientific terms related to fear, different types of fears, but that's not going to help you. Why? Because that information you can Google yourself as well. Let's talk about, since I'm the one who's speaking here, I want you to feel the situations that you might have felt or you might have dealt with when you felt fear. Try to deal, let's understand those, right? So that you have real examples that you can share if you can put in the chat. So look at the last time you felt fear. Fearful of maybe an older sibling, fearful of maybe a new person, fearful of maybe, let's say, you have to prepare a project report and you have to present. So you feel the fear of presentation, or you just feel the fear of having to prepare something, right? For example, if something to do with your subjects, something to do with your studies, you are told at the last minute that you have to prepare a presentation, and you have a fear of collecting information. I will do it later. Procrastination could be one of your fears, by the way. It could also be, where will I search information, what will I search information, how much do I need to search, what if that is not enough, what if the other people in my team don't like it? All of those fears. Remember, our fears mostly are to do with, what will others say when I turn up? What will others say, or how will others react when I turn up? That is the most common fear. It can be fear of public speaking, it can be fear of procrastination, it can be a fear of just expressing your ideas, it can be a fear of doing a new task, or any of that. But remember, majority of our fears, not talking of phobias, fears might just be perceived fears. So you need to first understand, what are the fears? Why do I feel them? When was the last time I felt it? How did that situation go? Was it in my favor? Was it against me? What can I do something to change it? A lot of times we feel our fears because we continue to experience them the same way in every situation, the way we experience them in the last situation. What does that mean? You have not really looked at a possible solution. I'll give you an example. So when I was in school, I was very shy. I would be regularly participating in debates, okay, but I would not speak up otherwise amongst people that I did not know, which is kind of contradictory, because to be able to speak in debates, you need to be able to stand in front of a lot of people and speak up about a topic, right? Knowing very well that at the end of the debate, people might question anything that you have said, right? But when I used to go in school, because I realized that I don't speak up a lot with a lot of people, so I know people, but I didn't have a lot of friends, and I did not like that. I didn't make any change to make more friends. But what I realized was that my fear was also being able to speak. So I took debates, or not elocutions, and I'll tell you why. But I took up debates as a way to be able to speak in front of people in a format. Debate is a format, right? And therefore, I thought that when I'm speaking in front of people, maybe I'll be able to reduce some level of that fear. So the reason I took debate is because the topic is known, and therefore you have time to prepare for it. And whatever you are speaking, it is a speech, so you have prepared for it. And we used to prepare it. I used to prepare it with the help of my mother. Thank God for her. And I used to learn up a lot of what I was going to say, right? And then I used to practice it again and again and again and again. Therefore, it does not feel as if I am reading it from a paper, and I would feel that I am saying it. But I did not participate in elocutions, because elocution is when you are given a topic on the spot and you have to speak, right? So that would increase my fear of speaking because I was not prepared. So debates, when I started doing debates a year, then 2 years, and then 3 years, and I started winning prizes and awards, I started realizing that if I can speak in front of people because I have prepared, therefore I have also gotten into the habit of reading on different topics, right? And speaking and looking at my facial expressions. And when I'm speaking, I'm also looking at some of the people who are sitting in the audience. So I can notice how they are reacting to me. And because you are doing it again and again and again, you become better at it, right? Therefore, then I took a challenge that I will participate in elocution also. And I took a risk. I remember this was in ninth standard, ninth or 10th standard. I took a risk, and it did not go really badly because by then people were used to hearing me speak. And also, because other people have the fear of asking question, because you are the person who's speaking, so in the mind of the listener, it is also that you are somebody who had the guts to speak, who had the time to prepare in the form of debate, or even in an elocution, if you were able to put valid points, a lot of the times your audience might not question you because they fear that this person had the guts, had the courage to speak up on the spot. That means they know what they're saying. Therefore, their own fear takes over and they do not question you. And you start to observe this, and therefore, your fear starts to reduce. Now, what I'm looking at is not looking at the fears of others, that is their duty. Your duty is to look at different ways in which you can reduce your fear. For me to reduce my fears, first of all, I need to know what all fears do I have. If it is a big basket of fears or is it a small container of fears or whatever, look at that, how you react with them, how other people react, right? What feelings do you feel in your body or in your mind? What thoughts are going through your mind? Observe them. Observe your thoughts as if they are a different thing other than you. So whenever a thought comes in your mind, remove your emotion from it and just observe the thought and observe it. I know what I'm saying might not make sense to some of you, might make sense to others, but look at your thought as if, say for example, you are sitting here wherever you are sitting, and there are two people opposite you at a distance, and they are speaking. You can see their lips move, and you can hear the sound of their voices, but you can't really understand what they are saying because they are at a distance, right? But you can hear their sound and you can see their lips move. So if you make an effort or go closer to them, you might be able to understand something, right? So you are making an effort, right? If you want to understand, or you might just go up to them and join. So they are different things, and you might decide not to go at all and just stand here and think that maybe they're talking about me, and therefore if I'll go there, they will stop talking. So all of these are different ways you're dealing with the same fear. So you figure out what have you been doing, right, with your thoughts also. Look at your thoughts as if they are a third party. They do not have control on you. Observe your thoughts and then say, okay, these are just my thoughts. These are not me. These are my thoughts. Let me figure out why do these thoughts come up in this situation. So what you're doing is you are now reducing the fear, the control that your fear has on you. You're reducing it. Why? Because you're now looking at a solution. Don't expect that the solution will come straight away the first time you try it. But you are making a step and then several steps towards a possible solution, right? what will happen is the level, the depth, the intensity of fear that you feel, the next time a similar situation happens, trust me, it will have reduced. That will increase your confidence, right? That I have handled some level of it. You keep repeating in your mind, tell yourself that you are good enough. Look at your achievements. What all have you done so far to reduce this fear or get rid of this fear? Trust me, the positive voice in your head will go up, it will get louder, and that negative voice in your head will become weaker. The moment that happens, your ability to handle that fear the next time that situation comes up will go up. Okay, I wrote, so I'll tell you something. I write a message every day. I call it an interesting thought. I write a message every day and I put it in different WhatsApp groups and on my Instagram story and on my WhatsApp story. So today, because of this webinar that we are having, I decided to write about fear. Okay, if you allow me, I'm going to read what I wrote in the morning. Again, for me to write this thought, I had obviously been thinking about today's webinar. I had read several websites, I read different books, but at the end of it, whatever I wrote were my collective thoughts that I had summarized over whatever I read. And it ends with a possible solution. So, what I'm trying to say to you by reading this message is that if you can make your mindset a solution seeking mindset versus maybe a problem seeking mindset, which might be there with you right now, the level of fear that you feel or the level of anxiety that you feel in whatever situation will start to reduce. You will get aware when it starts to reduce. The moment you get aware when it starts to reduce, your confidence level, that happiness, that calm feeling, that euphoria, some people might feel calm, some people might feel euphoria, that you have handled something, right? And it is working for you. That will create positive hormones, right? And that will further reduce your fear. You just need to make a step. So let me read what I wrote, okay? I started with what is fear? I'm reading from my phone, okay? What is fear and why do we fear fear? Is not being able to express oneself a type of fear? Is not being able to let go a type of fear? Probably one of the biggest fears humans have, we have, is something that happened to us in the past, and now in the present we fear, we dread that it might happen again. This is something which happens with majority of us, almost all of us, right? One of the common ways to predict future is by the experience and the projection of one's past. What that means is a lot of times we feel that this is going to happen to me next time because it happened to me in the past, right? So we are carrying our previous experiences, baggages into our future, and guess what? Because we project it into our future, majority of the times it happens. Okay, so one of the common ways to predict the future is by the experience and projection of one's past. So, a lot of people go on to live their entire lives in anticipation and the vigilant mode in order to prevent something that might never happen. But to them, it feels that it definitely will because in their mind it is inevitable. As Nelson Mandela said, you can Google this. Nelson Mandela said, a brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear, right? So you can fall down. Imagine when you were growing up, when you started crawling, you may have tried it sometimes and you were not able to. When you start, observe a child when they start to walk, they might try to hold on to something to stand up and they might fall, but the child will stand up again, will use something else to again control, give comfort, give support to themselves and stand up. A child will keep trying, right? They might fall, they might hurt themselves, they might cry, but a child will try it again. That is because till the time, the way we are made, till the time we don't learn something, we were created to keep trying, right? When a child is born, fear was something that was not consciously there, but we understand it by when we observe our elders, the way we were handled. Okay, but as a child, if you made sure that you were able to crawl and stand and walk and tie that shoelace and learn how to brush your teeth and try to ride a cycle, I mean, how many times you might have fallen, even got bruises, but you still learned. Or as you grow up, you learned how to ride a bike or drive a car. All of those were your fears of the unknown, which you were able to overcome. The point is, you are still living in some other fears that you have not tried to overcome. Physical fears, we usually try to overcome quickly because they are more visible to the world. Psychological fears, we don't overcome because they are may not be that visible to the world, but they are always visible to us. And how we deal with them becomes our reaction to different situations and different people and overall our life. And therefore it becomes a projection of our personality, and therefore it does become visible to the world, which we sometimes call this is my personality. Again, a lot of times our part of our personality is built from our fears. So you need to see which way you building. So going back to what I was reading, as Nelson Mandela said, the brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So what should we do? Some very simple solutions that I thought I wanted to share. First thing is, praise the goodness that is there inside of you. Look at all the things that you have achieved. Sometime in the past you were not able to achieve them, but you have achieved them now. That means some fears you have already overcome. So look at those. Spend more time with people who appreciate you. When we are appreciated, when we are praised, a lot of the times our fears or our self anxiety reduces. We feel better about ourselves, and we feel more motivated and more confident to do something new, or something that we might not have been able to achieve in the past. Okay, so spend more time with those people who appreciate you. Spend more time with those people who enjoy your company when you are showing your authentic self. Okay. Also, as I've said in the beginning, write down all your fears and the reasons you perceive them to be your fears. Okay. Slowly start to solve the small ones. As your confidence increases, you will be able to solve the bigger ones as well and overcome your fears. Think of it like this. I give this example and I find it very funny, but it's actually a very valid example. If any of you have seen movies from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, Hindi movies, Bollywood movies, or any South Indian movies, or any movies that you watch, the common theme was hero, his family was not treated the right way when the hero was a child, right? And then the hero grows up, becomes the hero, right? And he wants to sometimes seek revenge or sometimes teach a lesson to the bad guys. So imagine any movie where there were more than two or three bad guys. The hero always started with the small bad guys, right? Small villain. Hero used to teach a lesson to the small bad guy. Once hero was done with that, then he would go to the next bigger bad guy, right? And then to the main villain. Why? I don't know the reason why they used to do it in the movies, right? Whatever the reason. But in real life, what can we learn from it? You can start with your small fears. You can start with your small habits that do not serve your purpose. Start with them, which are not that difficult to solve, which are not that difficult to remove. Start with them. Your confidence level goes up. You feel better about yourself. You feel happier with yourself, right? It gives you courage and confidence and motivation to go to the next bigger one. You are able to solve that. Why? Because you know that you just solved one small one. right? So your mind is better prepared to deal with the next one. You solve that, you feel much better about yourself, right? You feel more confident, you feel pepped up, and then you are able to go to the next one and the next, right? So similar format. The point is, fear to fearlessness is something that is all within ourselves. You can read books, you can listen to videos, you can listen to podcasts, you can read blogs online, you can attend webinars like these. Please do. But ultimately, that action you take, and how consistently you take that action, that will decide whether you are going to just stay in fear, or you will make that journey from fear to fearlessness. Completely up to you. All right, so with that, I will end what all I am talking about. If anybody has any questions, you want to share your experience, if faculty member can share with me what questions are there, and I'll be able to answer if I can. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us your valuable time.
Thank
It
you.
was a very informative session, and surely it will help our students as well as faculties
I hope
to
so.
move forward in life. Yes.
Thank you.
Sometimes one of the question from one student is mentor required, madam, for during every phase of time of fearlessness?
Okay. Let me share this with you. We are living in the current times that we are living in. There are more and more people who are actually taking the help of a mentor or a coach or even a therapist to deal with certain situations. If you feel that you require somebody's guidance at certain stages of your life, and you can find the right person and they are ready to help you, please do take. Why? Because if that mentor has gone through that situation and they have found a possible solution, they might be able to guide you, and you might not have to go through all those problems or those hardships, or those obstacles that that person has gone through, because they are able to help you solve, right? Whereas if you're a person who wants to experience your own journey and create your own journey, and you want to go through different situations first, and then you will learn, completely up to you. If you have already gone through certain pains, and obviously you don't enjoy going through pains, right? You can either learn from the lessons of others, you can get a mentor, you can get a coach or a therapist, or if you don't want to do that with another person, still seek out help through podcasts, through videos, through blogs, right? But there are a growing number of people who want to speed up their journey, because the kind of challenges we are facing in current scenario is a lot of variety. So you don't want to always be going from one obstacle to the other. So getting the help of a mentor or a guide or a coach, it's people are accepting it, so why not? If you find somebody right, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome. Any other question, Vishali? No more questions? I'm not able to hear you.
Yes, ma'am. No questions from our side, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
Yes,
So
thank you
if
so
there
much.
are
Yes.
no questions, thank you to all of you, especially to Hemal. He's been in contact with me almost all of this year now. I really
Okay.
appreciate what you guys are doing at your university. Creating these webinars for your students. It's a great thing that you are doing, and it's been my honor to be a part of this program today. I actually adjusted. I made sure that I this session goes live today, so I was very excited about today. Thanks a lot for this opportunity, and do stay connected. And hope to see you in the new year. And have a great happy new year. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure. Thanks.